some people. What's up, Bio Greens, Kelly, Verbal if you're back. Yeah, that nature be calling. You don't want to wait too long. It says we have 4 people that may be including me. I don't know. So hopefully a few more people will come in. What's up, brilliant botanist? Yeah, this is something a friend of mine had made for me. She's from Ghana, and her sister makes clothing, and she had this made for me. Um, the one who lives in the States, she measured me and everything, and then she sent it to Ghana, the measurements to Ghana, and she had it made for me. Fits perfectly. It is. It's not something you want to wear if it's cold, but it is very comfortable. You got room to grow if you have to. What's up, Black G? What's happening? Glad to see you. Yeah, straight from the motherland. I've never done one of those DNA things because I'm kind of, a conspiracy theorist. But my sister did, and we have a background that goes back to Ghana and Nigeria and Cameroon. Thank you, Black G. Now, I always try to get on your lives whenever you're on. If I'm in front of my phone or if I'm in front of the computer screen, I'm usually watching something on YouTube. I don't watch too much TV, so if somebody's going live, I try to catch it. But let me ask. Kelly wanted to know something about the foxtailing, and me personally, if the bud is good, it's good. It doesn't really matter to me whether it foxtails or not. But I will be honest, in my experience, most plants that I had that foxtailed a lot, they weren't something that I really, really liked. And they were like, okay. My day is going pretty good. I had an incident with my car. And we have a neighbor who feeds stray cats. And the stray cat climbed into the engine compartment of my car, well, my wife's car, really. And but it's her car. The cat climbed into the engine compartment, and it was pregnant. And usually when I go up to the cars, I click the remote because I always know cats are going to jump on top of the cars or they're going to, just be around the cars. And so the horn will scare them off. And over the last couple of days, I kept hearing something like coming from underneath the car, and the cat would go darting out. And I really didn't pay too much mind of it, but my wife, she just unlocks the door whenever she uses that car. And she unlocked the door, and the cat, I guess it didn't scare the cat. The cat was in the engine compartment. And let me just say, the cat is not with us anymore. And it was pretty gross because it was killed by the fan, and it made the cat have spontaneous birth. So there were a bunch of stillborn kittens all in my engine compartment, blood, placentas. It was pretty nasty. And a dead cat, adult cat. So I had to clean all of that out, and It caused like $500 of damage to the engine, knocked off the air duct leading to the air intakes and things like that. And yeah, it was pretty gross. So I was taking care of that today, earlier. And I had to take the car to the shop and get an estimate and all of that. So hopefully you all can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Yeah, BioGreens. It was a trip because my wife called me, and we park in a garage, a big garage, and she called me and said that she thought she ran over one of the cats. And so when I got downstairs, there was just a dead cat, like by the entrance, and it was pretty messed up. And but I didn't see the kittens. The kittens were still in our parking space, and three of them were like on the ground, and the other three were in the engine compartment. So it's about $500–600 worth of damage. Yeah, of course, I got insurance, so I just have to pay the deductible, and that counts as comprehensive, so it's $100 deductible. So I'm kind of pissed at my neighbor because she's always feeding these cats, and it's allowed them to breed. We've even tried a trap and release program, but because she was feeding the cats, it didn't work. And so, there's been several litters born, and she'll put up like a whole bag of cat food out there. And I like animals and stuff, but cats are very self-sufficient. You don't even have to feed them. They can hunt. They're not like dogs, domesticated dogs. They said if society broke down and all humanity disappeared, all those dogs, those little cute dogs, specialized appearances like bulldogs. What's up, Debo? Dogs that have short jaws and stuff like bulldogs, and of course your little small toy dogs. These man-made breeds, a lot of them would perish within 3 weeks. But cats, cats gonna live. The moment you set them free, they're on their own. They can support themselves. So back to that foxtail thing. Yeah, the foxtail thing, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I like denser bud myself, but if it's good, it's good. So what's everybody smoking on? I have what's left of some of this Romulan I'm growing right now. I always take a few buds off early just to see how it's coming along. So it's pretty good. It's going to be a good harvest. And I also have a bud of some other stuff that I'll probably fire up too. It's what's it called? It's called blueberry cruffin. Yeah, it's pretty good. Uh, BioGreens, ferals aren't awesome friends when they crap around your car and spray by your car, and they climb into your car and cause $500 worth of damage. I gotta disagree with that. And also, when you wash your car, they jump on your car with muddy footprints and stuff. And so it's a big deal. And if she didn't feed the cats, they wouldn't live in the parking garage. They might come in there from time to time, but they just wouldn't do that. It says we have 10 in the house, but I only see myself and 4 people, so I don't know. Some people hide their identities, but it says we got 10. Yeah, it was messed up. And the worst part about it is I have to uh, get the car fixed. That means I have to be in the same car with my wife, and that's always a bit of an issue because she's a very, very tense driver and a very tense passenger. Well, we live in a big condominium complex, so um, we can't put up we can't alter anything or put up any sprayers or anything. I bought some of that spray that's supposed to make them not, piss and crap over in the area you spray it in, but um, I don't know if it works. Kelly Hill smoking on that Northern Lights. I see the comments. You don't see anyone else's bio greens. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I could see several people, but I know. But you're saying a automatic sprayer. I mean, I've seen videos of things what you're talking about, but like I said, it's not my property, so I can't put things up like that. So Debo, you just harvested, if I'm not mistaken. How's that coming along? Everybody who's in the chat, do me a favor. Um, just type something in. It doesn't even have to be a word. Just type something in so that we can see if everything is working right on this live stream. Okay, I was under the impression that you already. Oh, you talk about when you trim off the branch. Okay, yeah, yeah. Trimming is it's a time of happiness, but it's something that you got to be honest. You're never looking forward to. I know I'm never looking forward to it, and it's even worse with outdoor plants because every branch on an outdoor plant is like a entire indoor plant. Plus, there's always bugs on them, like spiders and stuff like that. And you'll be trimming, all of a sudden a spider will come running out of the pile of bud. All right, Kelly, you're saying you crossed Northern Lights autoflower with White Widow male and have named it Northern Widow. Now, how do you hydrate it? What do you mean by that? And no, I've never tried Chickamauga scissors bio. So you're bio and I'm bio. So I'm just going to call you bio because I trip over my speech enough. If I keep trying to say bio greens all the time, that's going to mess me up. So if anybody's having any problems with this live stream, please let me know. What is up, Dennis? So if you don't mind, just sound off where you're at, what part of the world you're in. No, I don't. I see you. I see you, Verbal. I just don't read so fast. All right, Southern Michigan. What's up, Sir Sticky? All right. I don't even know how to say your handle. It looks like Stealth Grower 56, but you're using 5s and 6s, so I'm just gonna say Stealth Grower 56. What's up, brother? All the way from Scotland. All right, Dennis, Vancouver. You know, I always wanted to go to Vancouver. Wanted to go check out Amsterdam, and I had a girlfriend at the time who really liked to travel a lot, and we were supposed to go to Vancouver, but we broke up. Just never got around to it. And then, you know, things got, you know, a little bit easier here as far as being able to smoke. So really didn't have to make the trip. I also wanted to go to Amsterdam. So who knows, maybe one day. So the chicken masa scissors, you're saying they cost 25 bucks and it make trimming faster. Do they have a spring in them? Or do you have to actively open and close them? What's up, Sticky Rick? Chi-Town. Oh, what I have on, Dennis? This is a outfit that a friend of mine from Ghana made for me. Well, she didn't actually make it; her sister made it, and she measured me and everything, and then sent the measurements to her sister, and it was made in Ghana and sent to us. Yeah, I think I have 3 of them. I have a red one. Well, it's not really red. It's kind of like it's like a dark rose color, if that makes any sense. And I have a black one. And I also bought a few mud cloths from her. About 3 mud cloths. Yeah, I like the color too. It's really nice. This is the best one. This is my favorite one. Well, Dennis, the easiest thing to do is to Google it. But mud cloth is traditional cloth that is worn by different cultures in Africa, and it's usually like a pretty thick material. What's up, GT? Thank you very much. Okay, you say that. Okay, you just harvesting some Canna Genetics, Division 3 OG. Yeah, 420 is gonna be it's gonna be like a solitary thing this year. It's like you know, I'd like to go visit some of my friends or whatever. If we could, if we had the social distance, we couldn't even hit the same joint. We'd have to stand like 10 feet apart and smoke or something, just to be in the same vicinity. But you know, gonna do the right thing. Yeah, I'm just chilling. I'm just chilling. I did my chores, the garden work, watered my plants, straightened up a little bit. This pendant, this is from Senegal. I'm gonna get some of those scissors. I'm gonna try them out. I'm gonna have to start trimming really, really soon because I'm about to harvest myself. I heard that, Kelly. You know, Sticky Rick, you have with your soil? Are you using soil, cocoa, or what are you doing? Is it living organics? Are you using nutrients? Because I know those fungus gnats are. My last crop and this crop I'm doing now, I've had not one fungus gnat. And it's my understanding that when your biology and your ecosystem gets really, really tuned in, that fungus gnats can't breed like they do usually. There's of y'all know Debo, you can't pass it to anybody. You put need, but I think you meant to say neem bios. I don't know. It seemed like when they were there, it seemed like I just couldn't get rid of them. It didn't matter what I did. I bought the nematodes. I put down diatomaceous earth. I put down that gnat nix stuff. Nothing seemed. Okay, you say we're timing out. Okay, sorry about that. You know, I live in an area that really doesn't have the greatest internet infrastructure. And we got off of cable because cable was just, you know, ridiculous. I don't watch enough TV for cable, so I don't have cable internet. And we have that Sonic, but we live in an area that doesn't have fiber optic cables. So everything's slower. So hopefully it won't be that bad. When I did a live stream on my phone, I think it was horrible. So, but a lot of people stuck in. So, okay, you try to reuse your soil, Sticky Rick. Every now and then, you'll try some new soil and mix it in with your reused soil. Okay, and I'm imagining you're using organic amendments. Don't worry about the spelling because you know most people are always going to know what you're talking about, Bio. Kelly Hill says, with beneficial nematodes added to your medium, whether it be soil or cocoa, with organic amendments, those beneficial names kick ass. Yeah, Dennis, I'm sure everybody's on the internet. A lot of people aren't at work. Where I am, everything's shut down. There, you can get food to go, but that's about it. You don't see too many people on the streets. You only see the essential workers, and I guess people trying to get to and from wherever they're trying to get to. You know, Kelly, as far as um, fungus gnats are concerned, I tried almost everything you could think of, and I think the thing that really, really worked for me was the predator mites. But I will say this, the worms made the difference. I believe the worms made the difference because the worms create all these tunnels and this habitat that just makes it easier for the predator mites to kind of get down into the soil where the fungus gnat larvae are. What's up, smoking plantas? I'd say it in Spanish, but that is the only class I ever flunked in my life was Spanish. And that's because we didn't use a book and I cut too much. All the rest of my classes, I didn't need to be there. I was pretty smart. I could always just take the test and get by. But Spanish, my Spanish teacher would not let us use a book. So you had to be there, and I wasn't there. So I'll just say, what's up, smoking plantas? So what is, I'm not sure if I'm reading this right, but have you ever smoked shisha pipe? What is shisha pipe? Nah, Debo, I haven't tried the mung beans. Every time I think about it, I'm just not in a place or not ready to order it, and then it leaves my mind, and that's just it. See, I'm already high. I've been smoking this Romulan. This stuff is good. I wish you guys, Black G, if you're out there, man, you got that DNH or DHN, I should say, that Dark Heart Nursery Romulan, like I have. It's good. It's good. I don't know if he's still out there. Yeah, I don't think people really want to ignore you, but the more people that are on in the chat, it's scrolling, and you kind of got to scroll it back up and down so you can catch everything everybody's saying. But yeah, I want to try to definitely engage with everybody because I would get frustrated. I told a story before when I used to go on to like Subcool's live streams, and I want to ask him a question. I type it in there, and he would never answer my questions. It just seemed like he just wanted people to stroke his ego. Sticky Rick, with those the diatomaceous earth, if your pots are plastic, those fungus gnats can go through the bottom. They'll go through your drainage holes if your pots are plastic. So it's not gonna matter what you put in that soil or what you put on top of it, for sure. Oh, the hookah pipe. I don't even know what they put in those things, but if it's not weed, I'm not smoking it. Yeah, smoking plantains. I'm gonna get some mung beans. So I just gotta remember when I'm like sitting in front of the computer and I can order some. They actually used to sell it at this little organic co-op that I used to go to. Well, I still go to it, but it's kind of like the lines are so long to get inside of it. I haven't even tried. Last time I went, there were like about 100 people standing outside. So I was like, eh, the mung beans, I have to wait. What's up, Will Cash? You know, Will Cash, with these living organic containers, you have to keep them moist. So that's why fungus gnats can really be a problem because you know you're keeping the soil moist, and it is a good environment for them to breed. But no, I don't. I try not to let my containers dry out at all. Um, some people use the blue mats, and that just constantly feeds water into your container and keeps them at the proper moisture level at all times. I don't do that. So I try to water them, you know, those 5-gallon containers. I try to water them once a week when the plants are really, really small when I first put them in. And as they get larger, um, every 3 days, sometimes every other day, depending on how much those plants drink. Okay, Dennis Bella wants to know, what's the weirdest high you ever had? Well, it depends on what you mean by weird. I can tell you the worst high I ever had was overdosing on cookies. Okay, I'm not sure. When you say slugs, are you talking about real slugs, the disgusting snails without shells? You know, I wasn't aware, smoking planters, that roly-polies um, were predators. I was under the impression that roly-polies were leaf shredders or something like that. But hey, if they're taking care of it, then it's cool. And I don't think ladybugs are a good thing for fungus gnats because ladybugs don't really, you know, that's not their favorite food. Ladybugs like aphids. Matter of fact, if you get ladybugs, I was talking to the Grow 420 Diaries on her live stream yesterday. If you get those, if you get ladybugs, you should make a habitat for them out of a humididome and a propagation tray. And what you do is you put a sponge, a wet sponge, so that the ladybugs can drink, and you put some raisins in there with it. And they'll eat the raisins, and what they'll do is they'll breed. And so what you'll find in your garden is a lot of ladybug larvae, and they actually eat far more than the adult ladybugs. The adult ladybugs just want to get it on and fly off. And so that's what always happens to me when I release them without making a habitat. You know, if overwatering is your problem, Bio, then you should, yeah, you know, keep using the weight test, but the day when it gets light, water it the day before. That's the simplest way. Hey, Debo, the um, the co-op I'm talking about sells raw mung beans, so they haven't been dried. Or what I should say is they haven't been, guess what's the word? You can sprout. They're sproutable. They have mung beans that in that form. They have also buckwheat. Yeah, that stink bomb story. Yeah, remember it like it was yesterday. Yeah, keep that information flowing. Will Cass says the live stream is good. He likes the information being shared, and that's what it's all about. Get that information out there. If you guys see anything going on in my garden, always feel free to let me know what's going on. If you have a suggestion. When I grew outside, I had a praying mantis. Um, the person I was growing with, they captured it and we released it into our little screen house. And if you don't know what I mean by screen house, you can look at some of my older videos and you'll see where we always construct a shelter and then we use insect screen. And the insect screen was specifically to prevent moths from landing on our plants. And you know what caterpillars can do. But I think the video is still online where I have the praying mantis in a jar before I released it. Anybody got the information on the mung beans? Put it out there for Will Cash, please. Because it's usually not a lot. Usually you have to sprout something like what they say, 56 grams or something like that, and then you mix that with 5 gallons of water or whatever. But I'm not sure about the ratios for mung beans specifically. Sticky Ricky, is there a strain of cannabis you can definitely say you don't like at all? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I don't like. There's a lot of stuff that I hear people talking about all the time that I don't like it, like Girl Scout cookies. I do not like Girl Scout cookies. It kind of gives me a headache. And there's a few others. And it's stuff that a lot of people talk about, they really, really like. Gelato. Some batches of gelato always rub me the wrong way. It's like if I buy it and then because usually I don't even buy weed. I just buy a little bit so that I can at least have an idea about what I might want to grow in the future. And some varieties of gelato don't agree with me. 420 girl, that's my girl. I'm glad you are here. We all know 420 girl. Beautiful. She is beautiful. She gets my heart pumping. Look at that. That's my heart. That's for 420 girl. So yeah, there's a few strains I do not like. Shoot, some of the stuff I grew I didn't like. This last batch of Afgooey that I grew, I really don't like it. I've given most of it away. That's why I'm kind of out of bud. Okay, Dennis wants to know my weed cookie story, so I'll tell it really quick. I've always grown, let me rephrase that because I'm tripping. I've always made butter from tops because like when you grow, you have so much that, you can use top shelf if you want to. So I've never made butter from like leaves or trim. I've always made it from straight bud. And I made this butter one time and made some cookies from it, and it was super strong. And Mrs. J was pissing me off one night. So I ate one of those cookies because I just needed to zone out. And don't ask me what she was mad about, but to me, of course, it wasn't making any sense. So she just pissed me off so bad that I was upset. And I ate the cookie, and I didn't realize how much time it went by, but I was kind of like, this cookie's not even working. And I ate a second one, and I still didn't really feel it, but it was pretty late. It was probably like around 1 o'clock at night. 1 o'clock in the morning. So I fell asleep, and then around 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up. It was almost like I just jumped out of bed right to my feet, and I felt horrible. My body was like vibrating, like I was like one of those electric football players, if you're old enough to remember electric football. But I was just having all of these muscle spasms, and my heart just felt like it was going to pop out of my chest. And the last thing I felt was high. I just felt like I was going to die. And I was pacing the bedroom, back and forth. I didn't know what to do. And Mrs. J woke up, and she went, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I couldn't even lie. I was just like, I ate two of those cookies, and I'm freaking out. And it was like, as I mentioned before, it was like that scene from New Jack City where I was laying on the bed and she was holding me like iced tea, and I was Pookie. It was crazy. And it took probably like 3 hours for me to come down. And she was telling me, if we have to go to the hospital for this, you're cutting down all of that weed and throwing it out. And that's funny because she smokes more than me. But that's what happened with the weed cookies. So I really haven't eaten anything since. I've taken a few capsules. I brought some of those with me to Hawaii. That was pretty good. With the new LED, I do like it. I'd like to have something more badass. Maybe I'm a little prejudiced, or maybe I don't know what the word is, but when I look at the price of the light and it's only $129, that kind of makes me wonder if it's a good light. But as you know, I do have the LECs on either side, but I moved them farther apart, and the center of the garden where the Mars Hydro is doing pretty well. I do have those plants elevated because they were smaller. They're about the dozy-do's about a foot shorter than the Romulan and the lemongrass. But it looks good in the center of the garden. It looks really good. How do I make my chest move like that? You gotta hit them weights. You gotta develop some pecs. Then you can move your chest. You can be like left, right or left, right or left, right or left. But you gotta work out. Kelly Hill, if you don't know 420 Girl, that's my girl, beautiful lady. Subscribe to her channel. She's on Instagram. She does breeding, and she does a lot of videos and puts out a lot of information. Thank you, Sticky Rick. I wish I had a bigger setup though. I really would like to be perpetual, but I really can't do that where I am now. What's up, Leo? What's up, Leo? So I really would, so that way I can showcase a lot of different things going on at the same time. But right now, I don't know if you can see this, but over here, this is sitting in my living room. This is the clones I made. And you can see one container, you can see the cover crop, but there's 4 5-gallon containers underneath this PVC light holder, or whatever you want to call it. You know, my LECs don't produce a lot of heat. Do you have a horizontal fixture? Because it's my understanding that the horizontal fixtures will push more heat towards the garden, and the vertical fixtures are cooler. I'm talking to you, Bio Greens. I keep saying Bio because Bio Greens is in there. His handle on YouTube is GHFJJ, but I'm just gonna call him Bio because I'm not gonna keep saying GHFJJ. That's enough times. I'm not saying it anymore. If you're talking to me, 420 girl, this is some of the Romulan I'm growing. You know, smoking plantas. I don't know um, which lights are really, really good when it comes to LEDs. Because I haven't, you know, this is my first time ever owning one, but I do watch a lot of videos, and some people got some pretty impressive gardens underneath their LEDs. It seems to be usually the higher end ones, though. The plant to my left, that's it's a re-vegging Romulan. When I took my clones, Debo, I took them after 2 weeks of flower. So they all had a little nug on the top of them. But there's 4 plants. You just can't see them all. But there's 4 plants over there. I'll move the camera so you can see it. So here's the Romulan right there. And then there's a lemongrass, 2 lemongrass. And that one right there, I'm pointing to it right next to the love seat. That is a Dozy Doe. That's a clone that I bought because I didn't take any clones of the Dozy Doe. Okay, let's see. Okay, hopefully we'll go back and focus. Okay. Yeah, man, that if you overdo it with edibles, you are in for a roller coaster ride you cannot get off of. Well, I'm still growing it, 420 girl. I just took a sample bud and I microwaved it too. And the way I microwave it, I do 1 minute intervals on the lowest power. It takes usually about 8 or 9 minutes to dry it. And you lose most of the flavor, but you don't really lose the potency. And so that's how I kind of sample things and try to see what's going to be pretty good. What is up, J and K Triple G? Yeah, Kelly, definitely check her channel out. Yeah, I know. I know that's what you use, smoking plantas. But when you look at somebody like I want to say Green. I can't think of his name. Green Jeans, or I think Green Jeans Garden. You look at like some people who have those HLGs, those 550s and stuff. Those things just seem to produce a lot of bud. They seem to produce a lot of bud. Oh, excuse me, I'm gonna have to sit up a little bit. Looks like my camera angle's a little bit different. I know y'all don't want to be looking at my junk like that. Try to wear something loose, keep it presentable. Yeah, man, Biogreens, if you have heat as an issue, you just got to do what you can. I've had situations like that where all I could do was open a window or something. See, because I had to like run cords to different outlets in different rooms basically to make this work. What's up, mixtape swagger? What is up, my brother? So 420 girl, let me ask you a question. Because you already tell me you're loving the organics. Are you contemplating going the living organics, getting those worms in there? Hey, peace, smoking plantus. We see you later, brother. J and K, where you at, man? Where you hitting us from? We want to know your location. So anyway, I'm gonna tell a little story. Maybe I'll sing again. Maybe we all should sing the ABC song. You know, I've been working still because I'm in an essential profession, but even when I go um, to these places and stuff, you would think people would be trying to take the necessary precautions like that. And I see a lot of people, they are social distancing. I can't even say it. They're not standing far enough apart, and they're not wearing masks or anything. And it just seems some people aren't taking it seriously. And I understand because it's hard to believe, but you know, please, everybody, do what you can. Take care of yourselves. But you know, people. I was in the restroom, and some guy walks up right next to me. He just sticks his hands in the water and does this like for about 3 seconds, and that's it. He doesn't even use any soap. And I'm like, man, it's supposed to be 20 seconds, and you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, and get the creases of your hands. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? And that's how it's done. Stop it. I don't know if it's a slight delay, if it's popping up late. I just know I'm I'm on a slight delay. I know that. But yeah, people they're still not washing their hands and doing the necessary things. I see some people, they won't even wash their hands. They throw the hand sanitizer on, but they won't wash their hands. What's up, SM? I hope that doesn't mean sadomasochist. I mean, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. So Leo, how is that 300-watt working out for you? Have you harvested anything yet, or are you in the middle of your grow? Is it your first? Is it your second? You know what, Ken Greenhall? I replayed those live streams, and I didn't realize that the volume of my amplifier was really up high, and also the I was probably too close to the camera, so all my string noises and the thumps and all of that stuff caused a lot of distortion. So I don't even know if you guys were able to hear it well. At least when I played it back, it sounded really crappy to me. Yeah, man, I know it doesn't mean sadomasochist, but hey, you put the SMSL, so hey, I'm the kind of guy, man, if you give me a bone, I'll bite it. So I don't know. I might go grab it and play something. If you can talk, you know, like I said, I'm not the greatest bass player. I'm not Lewis Johnson or anybody like that. But what I am is what they call a pocket guy, which means that I keep the rhythm well and my tone and everything is pretty good. And that's actually more important than being able to do a whole bunch of different stuff on the bass, like a lot of soloing and things like that. If you can't keep rhythm, you will not get gigs. Yeah, you mentioned the Northern Riddle. I think you were commenting on that before really anybody got on. It sounds good. Yeah, I remember when the LEDs first came out. I was like, I wasn't really sold on them. Um, most of the videos I saw with LEDs, especially when they were all purple, blue, and pink and stuff like that, I didn't really see um, plants that I was impressed with. But over the last couple of years, I am impressed with LEDs. Ken, I don't know if I take requests or not. What do you want to request? You make the request, and if I know it, maybe I'll see if I can fake it. Okay, well, I'm sorry about the not being able to put a link. You can just type it out. You can just spell it out, and then I can copy it and paste myself. Okay, well, my bass is all the way. You know what, man? Ken, when it comes to rapping, my rap career ended a long time ago. A long time. I could play. You know what? Um, as far as Shaka Khan, about the only song I know is "Sweet Thing." And the last time I hooked everything up and I was playing the backing tracks, YouTube shut down the live stream and their algorithm detected a copyright infringement. But as far as rap, and I used to be in a rap group with my cousin, and it was called MDC Productions, the Million Dollar Crew. And that was a long time ago. That was like 1986. All right, Kelly, we'll check you out, brother. Yeah, man, that's what it's all about. You learn songs, and then you learn a song and you play it. But no, we were a little bit of a rap group then. But I mainly did the singing, and he did the rapping, my cousin. But that career ended before it got started. Uh, we never really got around to having pictures taken. We spent some time in the studio and things like that. and produced a few cuts and stuff, but nothing ever got published. And I found the music business in particular to be very depraved, and it was just something I didn't want to have a part of. So I decided to just be a smoke-filled bar type of musician, a person who plays very, very close to the people, who has a lot of interaction with people and things like that. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't like the so-called music business at all. We used to go to these things, they were called Gavin conventions. And this is in the 80s. This is like 1987, 88, 89. And we go to these Gavin conventions. And what a Gavin convention was this convention where all the music execs would be in one place, or at least representatives of the music companies. It wasn't like the big execs, but it was people who were in a position to publish your music, to give you a record deal. And these conventions were sick because what they would do, they'd rent out the top 2 floors of like the Hyatt Regency in San Francisco. And all that was just a fuck fest, if you pardon my English. And it was well known that if you could get up there on those top 2 floors, you might get a record deal, but that ass was going to get spanked for sure. You were going to have to do, like I said, back in the 80s, it was who you know or who you blow. And unfortunately, I didn't know anybody, and I definitely wasn't going to blow anybody. So Ken, if the song's not too difficult or whatever, all you have to do is type it, and I'll see if I can learn it. I'll listen to it and learn it. If it's something that's original or something like that, you can send that to my email, biobud29@gmail, and just put it in the attachment. So if you like what's going on, or you're having a good time, please hit the thumbs up. It seems to be something everybody says on their live streams, but you don't have to do it. I'm just having fun. Let me ask you a question, Ken. Do you play, and do you play if you are a player? Oh, I want to send a shout out to the 420 Grow Diaries. I do want to send a shout out to her. If you're not aware of her, check her out. Yeah, the TLO soil, man, that's the way to go. A lot of people are really, really hesitant to grow organically. And it's weird. It's a weird thing, but it just shows you how we've been brainwashed, in particular in this country, when it comes to things like that. It's like we think there's a synthetic. Let me put it this way: we've been trained or taught to think that synthetic is the way to go. We're taught that you just take a pill for things, you take a vitamin, and people aren't even aware that they can eat healthy and get all the vitamins that they need. They don't have to really supplement if they eat properly. But yeah, for all you who do not know, you do get good flavor when you grow with living organics, and it's better than when you use even liquid organic nutrients, in my opinion, at least in my experience. Debo loves his no-till. When it comes to upgrading my smart pots, I don't know. If I do, it'll be after I move. I'm not going to do it while I'm still where I am. It's kind of advantageous for me to be able to lift the containers and move them around, only because I had that rusted mic problem that really lasted for a couple of years, and I really needed to be able to implement a strict, and a thorough IPM program. So I had to be able to move those plants around and spray them really good. And so the bigger the pot, the heavier it is, and especially when they're wet, that makes it more difficult. So that's why I would like to use bigger pots, but I'm probably going to wait till I move. Thank you for hitting that thumbs up. S&M. I'm just going to call you S&M. Unless you tell me what the double S and the double M's mean, I'm just going to call you S&M. So you're a hillbilly hydro grower, but you've been switching to a no-till living soil. So does that mean you're going to change your name to hillbilly no-till grower? So Ken, I'm still waiting for the name of the song. If it's something original and you need to send it to me, it's something that I can't look up myself. Just send it to my email, biobud29@gmail. You're saying it's modern Motown soul? I don't know how anything can be modern and Motown at the same time. But that sounds like an old song to me. But I would think it would be Give Me Just a Little More. Now I'm thinking of something I think it's called Give Me Just a Little More Time. But that's by a man, it's not by a woman. You're saying it's a song by Gabrielle. So I'll look it up. Yeah, man, Leo, the no-till, it works, and like I was mentioning before, there's a lot of resistance. A lot of people really, really are afraid, or they just don't think it'll work. And when I go to the grocery store, it's like all the guys who work in the grocery store, they have their own little setups and stuff, but all of them except for one, and it's like about 6 guys, all of them except for one grow synthetically. And when the organic grower and I talk, they get these little attitudes, and they start smirking, and they always just say, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm just not ready to do that. And I'm like, well, whatever. We all can grow whatever way we want to. Well, I'm not hillbilly how'd you grow. I'm not sure if I'm following you or not. I'm kind of like on and off Instagram. I'm not on there that much. But I'll look you up if I'm not already. You're probably following me. Maybe I should say. So I'll definitely hit you back. Well, I'll look up the song, Ken, and I'll listen to it, and we'll see. Yeah, Mr. Debo has we've mentioned before. That's been my experience. I never went back. Yeah, I think you should embrace every style of growing, but I will say this: as a person who eats organically, it's only natural that I would want to smoke something organic. Um, I come from a time. I'm acting like I'm like time traveler or something, but I come from a time when most of the cannabis was imported. Northern California, most of it was imported. We had Thai sticks and all kinds of stuff from all over the world, and most of that cannabis was grown organically. Um, and for that reason, it was delicious. And other than your dirt weed and some of the brown weed, but if it was high quality weed, it was really, really good. And in my opinion, better than most of everything that's available today. And I just think that if you're going to eat healthy, you better smoke healthy too. And there's a lot of chemical residues that are going to be in your plant material. You can flush it, and I've grown hydroponically. I grew hydroponically for years, so I definitely know that you got to flush and all of that. And in my opinion, when it comes to flavor, it still doesn't compare. Although you can still grow some really, really good bud hydroponically. I'm not trying to say that you can't. And some of the biggest indoor plants, or I should say the highest producing indoor plants I've ever grown, were done hydroponically. I would definitely agree living soil is cheap. And plus, you don't have to mix it again. So as long as you keep it alive, that's the one thing I really like is that I haven't mixed soil since May of 2018, other than helping a friend. And by the way, the friend who I helped with her indoor setup, we're going to do something outdoor this year. And the same person I grew with before, but and I had a lot to say, some of it negative, of course. But I'll say it again if she does things the same way. And so we've talked, and I let her know, hey, you're gonna have to be on point. No, no slouching. Stuff got to be done. It's got to be done. And when it comes down to the cure and the drying, all of that has to be done the right way. And we had a talk, so we're going to give it another shot outdoors, and we're going to do the screen house again. I still have all of the fittings. I don't have the PVC, of course. I just chopped that up and threw it out, but I do have all of the fittings. I don't have any screen, so I'm going to have to buy more screen. And but we're going to do the outdoor thing. I'm not sure how many plants. It probably won't be that many. Maybe 4, at the most 6. And we're not going to let them get too big either, because there's going to be height restrictions. In the neighborhood, they have an ordinance about how tall the plants could be, so they can't be seen um, from over the fence. If you're walking past the fence or whatever, they can't be seen. Well, you don't want them seen anyway, but there are height limitations. So, and there's got to be height limitations for the screen house also. That can't be seen from the outside. So we're going to make it work though. So they'll probably be short plants. We'll probably try to spread them out. But we will be doing the outdoor. Leo, when it comes to growing with organic liquid newts and with super soil or no-till, I still like the no-till and or the super soil. And one thing I found with my outdoor grow, when I did the 2013 grow, I used earth juice, and I used their whole line. I used almost every product they had. I used General Organics, Cow Mag. I was using liquid fish hydrolysis, and that stuff would stink. Sometimes I forget what I put in the water, and I have to mix it over again. But at the end of the year, when I inspected the soil, and this was just, we dug holes in the ground and filled it with soil with Happy Frog, and fed it the liquid organic newts. And when I inspected that soil, there was nothing living in it at all. There were no bugs crawling through it or anything. Definitely no worms, but it was lifeless. The following year, where I used Subcool's super soil recipe, when I dug the soil up, it was teeming with life. And even though it was different strains, I could see improvement in the terps and the flavor. But I think, you know, anything, if you can get it right, but I think it's really, really hard to get it right using liquid organic newts. At least that's been my experience. But I only used one product line. If you're going to ask me to recommend a cover crop, I like this white clover. That's what's in this container right here. Well, you can't see the one I'm grabbing. This container back here, this has got white clover in it. It's got a little lemongrass plant in it. So I like that white clover. I was using that 12 seed cover crop by Build the Soil. It was nice, but you had a lot of different kinds of plants, and some of them grew really, really large, and some of them were really small. So with the white clover, at least it's uniform, and I like the uniformity. Yeah, I heard about the red clover. I couldn't find any though. Actually, I think I went on to a couple of websites and it was sold out. So I just went with the white clover. Yeah, Leo. Yeah, the soil is full of life, and it's just something about the health of plants that are grown with super soil or with no-till. It's different to me. Although you can grow healthy plants hydroponically and with liquid organic newts and cocoa and all of that, I have yet, in my experience, seen that same kind of health. And I've grown big, healthy plants the other ways, but it's just something about the health of that living organic soil, the plants grown in living organic soil. There's something about it. And for me, it was something that I noticed right away. It was like and I wasn't even growing in super soil. What I did, I took some down to earth, all purpose, and some down to earth BioLive, and I just mixed that with some Roots Organics original, and I added some azomite to that. And that's all I did to that soil. And of course, I did put lime and Epsom salts in it. That's all I did to that soil, and those plants were super healthy. They weren't really big because they were only in 1 gallon plants, but I noticed right away, like it was like the health of the leaves was all the way to the tip. And I had never really experienced that before. It was always like the tips were always kind of getting a little brittle, and the plants were never praying. And that was my experience. And I see other people doing other things other than me, and I see their plants praying. So it's probably just me, or at least what I was using. And but that's been my experience. That it's just been a kind of health that I don't see any other way. I would think 420 girl that you should put the cover crop in before the plants and have it established already, kind of like these containers are. Because once the plants, if you put them in at the same time, the cannabis plant's gonna shade the cover crop and it's not gonna really grow well. So if you can get it in first, and what a lot of people do, or at least with some of the first no-till growers that I watched their videos, they were growing the cover crop first, and then they were chopping it down and then covering it with straw. And that was to create a layer of humus. Well, Debo, the only cover crop I have is on these containers right next to me. I did plant cover crop before I put down the straw, but most of it has been smothered by the straw. A little bit is poking out. Next time I do a video, I'll pan by the straw so you can see how much of the cover crop is sticking out, and it's varying from pot to pot. The dozy does in the center of the garden, because the containers are elevated, they have more cover crop growing in them than the other ones. Okay, where is my joint? All right, sorry about that. Oh, the worms were European night crawlers. They also have some African night crawlers, but the European ones are good. Some say the African ones are better. I know they're more expensive, but you can get those on Uncle Jim's worm farm, and they'll send them to you. You'll get thousands of them. Are you talking about Hillbilly Hydro Grower? Are you talking about Mr. Nice Guy? Was that his name, or what? Or was it? Because I was watching a guy, I thought his name was Minnesota Kind, but maybe you're talking about somebody different. Uncle Jim's Worm Farm. Excuse me. So 420 girl, that you were growing something that had a really nice color to it. It was so I'm about to say brisket. I know it wasn't brisket. I think it was brisker. I think it was Ferrari something brisker. And for those of you who don't know, Ferrari is 420 girl's trademark. I mean, it's Ferrari's trademark first, but it's her trademark. Hers has two eyes. She has two eyes on her Ferrari. Well, you say I have a strong paternal vibe. I am a dad. Matter of fact, I saw my daughter today. I had to drop her off a couple of N95 masks. Well, it's the Ferrari Ninja Blood. That's the one that's got all of that color. Because I thought you had like a brisker or something like a brisker or brisket. I know it's not brisket. I'm teasing you with brisket. But it's like brisker or something. You know, hopefully that blueberry muffin cross will give you a little bit of color. You know, the bud itself, It was okay. It wasn't like the best bud I ever grew, but it was pretty good. Of that grow, I had purple punch, and I had that blue frost growing too. Um, but the blueberry muffin was that was the third place with that grow of the three that I grew. So hopefully she'll get some of that Ferrari fire in her. It'll be a good combination. You know what the worms do, S&M, is see, I'm gonna keep calling you that too. Uh, what the worms do, they they don't make more bugs show up. I mean, if you're outdoors, all kinds of stuff can arrive. But if you're indoors, what they do is provide a habitat that a lot of critters can thrive in. So, in a sense that you might see one or two, without the worms, you'll see many more because there'll just be so much more life because the conditions are better for them. So yeah, the worms definitely make it a better habitat. So like if you have predator mites, the predator mites can go down into the tunnels and actually get down into the soil where the gnat larvae are. And also there's other critters that need those tunnels. They need the tunnels, but they can't make themselves. They're like hermit crabs. A hermit crab can't produce a shell, so it's going to go and use another shell that's been discarded by another animal. Oh, my opinion of a cover crop, Debo. I think cover crops are good for vegetative growth. If you have a bed and like a large bed, I think it's advantageous to have the cover crop the entire time. But I do think that it's if the cover crop is really really thick, like on these containers, I think it's really really good. I think if it's really thin and if it's being shaded by your plants, it's better to just cut it down and cover it with straw. That way, it'll be of use to your containers. It'll get broken down into humus where it'll just kind of be in the way if you don't cut it down. What I'm smoking here is that blueberry cruffin. It's from uh, it's from a dispensary. Mrs. J gets bored when I only grow limited varieties, so every now and then she'll buy some. But bud is expensive where we live. The top shelf um, is $70 including the tax, which means it's $55 with $15 of tax. And that's just for an eighth. So I'm not feeling that. So anyway, 420 girl, I'm about here now. That might be hard for scale, but that's about, I think, about 7 inches. I started off at about one and a half, two, and it's been 21 months. I like streaming, Ken. I like this because I can talk to you guys directly and have a conversation. Plus, shoot, you can't do anything, you can't go anywhere. Yeah, the cover crop's food for the on the but let me answer this for Leah first. Yeah, you have to cut it down if you want it to be food for the worms. Otherwise, it's just providing nitrogen for your plants. It takes nitrogen. The cover crop takes nitrogen out of the air and makes it available to your plants. Oh, 420 girl, I'm talking about the hair. I know every time I make comments about hair and stuff, it's kind of like I'm bothering you when I talk about hair, and that's just because I'm early in my journey. So a lot of times I'll say something to somebody who's been on the journey longer than me, and it almost seems like I'm like, hey man, I can't wait till mine's like yours, and it seems like I bother people sometimes when I say that to them. But you got those beautiful flowing locks, so you know you might be one of those people who get bothered when people comment when the newbies are talking about their journey. Well, hopefully, Ken, this is a comfortable space. This is a space of love. You know, everybody's seems to be a beautiful person to me. Uh, it's kind of funny because my wife. Yeah, Ken, I'm on a journey, man. I'm on a journey when it comes to the hair, and there's really only one journey you can take when it comes to hair, and it's a journey that takes a lot of patience. There's a lot of stages, and but once you get there, it's a beautiful thing. No, I'm going locks. So I started my locks about 21 months ago. What's up, Rashawn? Hey, that's what that's all about, man. Like I mentioned before, and with no disrespect for those who use the bottles, it is expensive. Ken, let me ask you, where are you? Where are you from again? Ken Greenhall. Where are you from again? Ken Greenhall. Where are you from? I'm trying to scroll back up to see if I can find it, but there's a reason I'm asking. Oh, shoot! I had to break out my PS4. I was playing Far Cry New Dawn, but I finished that game in like 5 days. So I went and um, downloaded Doom 3, the old game from like, I don't even know how old it is. I guess it's probably like about 8 or 9 years old. And I'm playing that right now. But I'm playing it on PS4, and you can't use any cheat codes. So it's been an ordeal. But it's actually been more challenging, and so it's not like you can have really a lot of things to do. So I'm kind of enjoying playing it without cheating. Yeah, you can't see my hair. Let me see if I can hang it down a little bit. See, can you see it? See my hair? See the other side? So there you go, Ken. That's as much as I can show you of my hair right now. Yeah, I got some hang time. And let me tell you, I started off. No, Ken, I have not. I'm on. This is 21 months. I started in July of 2018. Well, we call them locks. Some people say dreads. I call them locks. And there's a reason why some people say locks as opposed to dreads. But yeah, I always had waves. I always had, well, I didn't always have waves. My hair journey, my hair, I've had every kind of hairstyle you can think of. I had an afro, I had a natural. Well, natural is a small afro. I had a teeny weeny afro. I had the New York cut. I had a Covatis. I had a Jerry curl for 6 years. I had waves for 10. I had a S curl, you name it, texturizer. Yeah, my hair was really short when I started them. It was like, but I have high tops, so they'd be probably going down my back a little bit if I didn't have high top. Hey, you know, it's funny, and my hair was so short that it was tough for a while. I never got to the point where I was going to cut them off, but Mrs. J was giving me a hard time, especially because I made her. Ken, where did you put where you from, man? Because you talk about Bobby Brown, you killing me. Yeah, a high top fade. Yeah, I had my most recent haircut I had was a high top fade before I started growing these. So I thought I was using the sponge. I was using one of those hair sponges, so everything was standing up and getting spiky. And that's when I was like, shoot, I might just go ahead and let it go. And my sister-in-law does hair, so I asked her if she could start them for me, and she did. And it's been a journey. My wife was giving me a hard time. Yeah, I didn't think you were in America. You kind of talk about Bobby Brown, but yeah, a high top fade is how my hair started. And that's a question or a choice a lot of people have to make when they start their locks, whether they're going to do high top or they're going to do a full set. And sometime I wish I had started with a full set, but I'm good. I like it because now it hangs down and you can't even tell that they're high top because they hang down so far. But 420 girl was an inspiration for me. She gave me the heads up, told me that I needed to be patient. Don't twist your hair too often, things like that. So it's a nice set. It's a nice set. So I'm liking them. I'm definitely liking them. And mine's are manicured. They're I get it I guess palm rolled or whatever it is. I just know that girl be yanking my hair, yanking my scalp a little bit. And I watch too many videos. I watch a bunch of videos on locks and all this different stuff you're supposed. Some people say do this, some people say do that, and so I'm trying to do as little as possible. What is up, Texas OG? What part of Texas you from? What's up, CYN? CYN says, love your grow style. Got some animals for food and fertilizer this run. Bunnies and quail. I'm in Morgan Hill, Bay Area. Have you ever heard of the cloud sesh? No, I do not know what the cloud sesh is. But you know what? I do know Morgan Hill. I got rear-ended on, I got rear-ended in Hawaii last year, but I got rear-ended in Morgan Hill. I was coming from the outlets, and I got rear-ended on the freeway, and I got like whiplash. And if you ever had whiplash, like some people think that's a joke, but oh man, it's like your head weighs 500 pounds, and it's a lot of pain. It was pain for about a good 6 months. So that's my Morgan Hill story. So I hear Morgan Hill, I'll be like, slowly I turn. Well, it was very short, and it's starting to look like something. So finally, the wife is starting to she's starting to like it a little bit. But she was giving me a hard time because she had her hair dyed blonde, and I told her I didn't like it blonde, and so now she's like, you maybe stop dyeing my hair blonde and blah blah this and blah blah that, and I was like, well, I just didn't think it looked good on her, but that was just my opinion. But I was like, shoot, if you want to keep it blonde, keep it blonde. Shoot, it wasn't really her hair that I was looking at. That girl could have any hairstyle. I'm gonna be right there. Go-karts was funny. Um, I did grow up in San Francisco, and we lived on a very, very steep hill. And if you know anything about San Francisco, it's called the City of Hills or whatever, and it's a lot of hills. Uh, and we lived on a really, really steep hill. And we'd make go-karts. We'd steal shopping carts and, make our go-karts from the shopping cart wheels and stuff like that. And some of us would just ride skates. And I mean, we just take the skate and set it backwards and sit on it and lift our feet up. And we ride down the hill with our feet up. And back then, of course, kids wore platforms. And so we'd have platforms on, those were your school shoes. You weren't supposed to be doing this in your school shoes, but we wore platforms, and we'd have metal taps on them. And then what we would do is set our feet down to stop or drag them while we're rolling, and that would create sparks. So have you ever seen like those cars where they have the sparks coming out from underneath them or whatever, like when their muffler's dragging or whatever? That's the effect that the taps had. We just created a stream of sparks that we sped down the hill. When it comes to quakes, I was in San Francisco when the Loma Prieta quake hit in 1989. Matter of fact, we were, I've been married twice, and my first wife was a drummer. And she had an audition with Michael Cooper from Confunction, if you know who that is, old school funk band. Well, when Michael Cooper was on his solo tour, you know, But they generally, what they do is they hire musicians from several locations so that they don't have to pay for everybody to travel with them. So a lot of times what'll happen is um, if you're in the Bay Area or whatever, um, musicians or these big time groups, the high end groups like Confunction or whoever, somebody like Beyonce today or something. What they'll do is they'll hire musicians in several locations, so them all around, pay for the traveling and stuff. So my first wife, she had an audition with Michael Cooper, and we were supposed to be on the Cypress structure, which is that freeway structure that collapsed at the time the earthquake hit. But they canceled the audition. So we went out to go have some sushi. And I was actually in Japantown when that earthquake hit. But we were supposed to be on the Cypress structure. The direction we were going, we would have been on the top. So we wouldn't have got crushed, but we would have been on it right when that earthquake hit. Yeah, Sin, I got, if you're talking about Highway 101, yeah. Um, and I had that accident right where it changes from 4 lanes into 2, right in Morgan Hill. We were coming from Gilroy. Earthquakes are unnerving, Ken. It's funny because all of a sudden it just starts shaking and there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to try to get under something and hopefully it won't be too bad. Mm. Yeah, that whiplash can give that to you. It can give you nausea and make you throw up and all that stuff. It gave me mood. I had like mood swings. I was messed up. And the funny thing is, when we got hit in Hawaii, um, the damage was far worse. But thank goodness for that, because all of that energy was taken by the car and not us. That's why we didn't get hurt. So yeah, I'm sorry you had to go through that. Uh, SMSM, I've been vegging my plants about 4 to 5 weeks. There's been a couple of times I've done it longer and I've had to pay because the plants got too big. Where is Cloud Sesh located in Oakland? Yeah, it was a good thing it was canceled. And I would say that was a time when people really came together because we didn't have electricity for 3 days. And we lived in a big, kind of like this fancy apartment building. And we all got together and I barbecued everybody's meat because nobody had electricity. So we all got all our meat together and we had these big giant grills at this apartment complex. And I grilled everybody's meat and their vegetables and stuff. And we just kind of had like a 3-day picnic, brought out radios and stuff and danced and sang. And it was a time when I really saw this situation we're in now will produce some of that beauty. Right now, I'm not seeing that the way people went and hoarded supplies. And you try to get a roll of paper towels and they charge you $6 or $50 for 6 paper towels and stuff. You know, so far I'm not thrilled with the way people have been behaving with this crisis. You know, Ken, there's a reason why they use the saying, the good old days. Every generation says those were the days because probably with the increased stress and complication and 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 this just rat race we live in now, all of this stress and all of these things that we think we need, um, uh, it's not a great time to me. There's a lot of good things about today, technology and stuff like that. It's beautiful, but yeah, every generation will say those were the days because I truly believe that the simpler times were probably better times. You know, shoot, dirt used to be a toy for us. Dirt and rocks, twigs. We would take twigs, and this is the thing: if somebody would get the water hose and try to, usually we wanted to be whoever lived farther up the hill, and or anytime somebody was washing their car or something, that was a toy for us. We would take twigs or make little paper boats or whatever, and make those things go down the gutter. And that was a toy for us, and that was like simple fun. You know, dirt bomb fights. You know, making boomerangs out of popsicle sticks. You know, those were simple times, and we did have toys, of course, real toys and stuff. But you know, that was one thing that made life, you know, life being simple is a beautiful thing. I've been to a chiropractor. I've had good chiropractors and I've had bad chiropractors. I had a chiropractor one time. He didn't use any heat or any type of modern techniques. All he wanted to do was adjust you. And he had big giant forearms, and he was a fireman also. So he was a fireman and a chiropractor. But after he got through with you, I felt like I got beat up by a fireman. I didn't feel like I was treated by a medical professional. Yeah, let's see, one person hiding everyone. That's called hide and seek. But my favorite version of hide and seek is hide and go get it. And that was where it was boys, you know, it was boys would look for the girls or the girls would look for the boys. And if they found you, they got to kiss you. But you know, only the cute boys were found. You know, I was a late bloomer, so they was overlooking me. They were like, they pretend like they didn't find me. But I was hide and go get it. But yeah, we used to play hide and go get it. We used to play middle. My next door neighbor had their driveway was painted. And that was a thing in the 70s. People would paint their driveways and they put some type of design like a big diamond or something. And my next door neighbor had a diamond in their front in their driveway. And so we played this game called Pulling Out the Middle. And because the driveway was painted, it was smooth. And we played that in our socks. And we could slide around and be dragged out the middle. And the last person in the middle, you know, would be it or whatever. But I think it was a team game. Matter of fact, it was a team game. And usually we do boys against the girls if we had it like that. Sometimes we mix it up. And each team would be in the middle, and then the other team would try to pull them out. And then we just go back and forth. And of course, we play tag, stuff like that. Kick the can is before my time, buddy. Okay, Webster Street. Yeah, but what part of Webster Street? Is it like kind of by the freeway or further downtown or whatever? I don't know Oakland that well, but I spent a little time in Oakland. So we played a lot of games, had a lot of fun. So hopefully, like I said, people will be there for each other. There's a lot of ugliness, a lot of ugliness, and hopefully that'll stop. And I can't even say we because I was scared of bees. And so my sister would have to catch mine for me, my big sister. And we catch bumblebees and stuff, and then we throw a bottle. We throw a flower in a jar. We put holes in it, thinking that the bee was could get honey from the flower and stuff. That's how stupid we were. We were just really young, but we used to do things like that. We also used to catch frogs. All my frogs died, though. We also used to catch crayfish, too. We didn't know what to do with them. We didn't eat them or anything. We just catch them and play with them. And we used to catch bugs, too. We'd catch all kinds of bugs and put them in a shoebox and cover the shoebox with saran wrap and try to watch them fight. Yeah, I had a toy bow and arrow, but it had a suction cup on the end of it. And of course, we had our cap guns, water pistols, things like that. All right, Leo, we'll see you soon, brother. Yeah, it's only 3:28 where I'm at. It's still early. I wanted to do this early enough so that people on the East Coast wouldn't have to stay up too late or really mess with their dinner and stuff. Should I love my cap guns? Should I also, we used to, of course, play with firecrackers and stuff. And we'd go down to Chinatown. In Chinatown, they just sold firecrackers and cherry bombs and stuff like that right there on the street. Things like that. All the illegal fireworks were sold right on the street. And there was even a couple of buildings that you could go to where they would lower the fireworks down in a basket from like the top floor, from one of the upper floors of these apartment buildings. And you put the money in the back. There'd be a person down on the ground. You put the money in the basket, and they send up the money. Then they send down your fireworks, or I should say, your firecrackers and cherry bombs and smoke bombs. And we'd combine those sometimes. The firecrackers. We'd get old prescription bottles and fill them up with gunpowder from the firecrackers. Yeah, it was for the 4th of July. That was the only time you can buy them. And we make homemade bombs out of them, basically. Not like bombs that would really blow up anything, but they blow up a snail or a turtle or something like that. But we'd never make them powerful enough to really cause real damage. They'd be about, like in a little prescription bottle about that big, plastic prescription bottle. And one time, my best friend, he's always trying to one up everybody. He got a little glass mason jar, like one of the really small glass mason jars, and he filled it up with gunpowder from the firecrackers. And he always wanted to save all this stuff for last and stuff. So here he is. He's got to save the stuff for last. Wait for everybody else to pop theirs. And so he got ready to light this bomb, this homemade bomb. And keep in mind, it's a glass container. And we're all so dumb, we're not even thinking that glass, and it's about to explode. But we still knew we had to get back. So we're all standing back. And of course, he had to light it. And there was one thing that nobody accounted for. One of our neighbors was having their house sandblasted. And we lived on a really, really steep hill. So there was sand all over the street, all over the middle of the street and stuff. So when he lit this bomb, he tried to run and he slipped in the sand. He just peeled out, just fell right to the ground. And he tried to run, but he didn't get far enough. And the bomb exploded, and he got hit by some of the glass in his Achilles. But all the rest of us were back far enough. So that was some crazy, stupid stuff that happened. So that wasn't so good that times was that simple and we were that bored that we were doing things like that. But yeah, we might have blown up a turtle. Don't tell my sister. She still doesn't know what happened to that turtle. Okay. I'm gonna hit this bud again. Oh, what happened to the turtle? Um, Let me put it this way. I wouldn't have wanted to be the turtle. Yeah, it was one of those little aquatic turtles. And yeah, it was alive. We were kids. We were kids. And it wasn't my idea. You know, I was probably like 8 years old. And it was one of my older friends. He was like 11. You know how 11-year-olds are. They haven't yet discovered girls really, so they're starting to get a little bit of energy, and it's kind of misdirected. I mean, we lit in and we ran. All right, 420 girl, gotta take care of the kids. I know it's about 6 o'clock. You gotta get that dinner on. So definitely we'll chat later. Love you. So we ran and checked it out afterwards. It was nasty, but it was one of those really, really small turtles, so it wasn't a lot of mess. So yeah, this is blueberry crumpets. It's from a dispensary. Um, I'm not sure if it's organically grown or not, but one thing I find about dispensary, but at least where the dispensaries that I go to, it usually is lacking in terps, and there's usually a little bit of harshness. Not a great deal, but usually a little bit, especially compared to what I grow. Hopefully, you know how when they say they didn't know what hit them. Hopefully, the turtle didn't know what it hit them too. But you know, maybe some of the grief I've had in my life stems from that incident. So who knows? But we've been on for 2 hours. I'm gonna have to go. But it's been a beautiful. I've had a good time. What's up, Bo Allen? Uh, are you just coming on, Bo Allen? Because I'm about to get up. Now I'm about to get up. But I do appreciate you stopping by. Maybe I'll hang around for about another 10, 15 minutes. I'm gonna hang around for 10, 15 minutes. No, don't go. Don't go. I just said I'm gonna hang around for 10 or 15 more minutes. And this is just for you, Bo. Just for you. You know what? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm gonna go get my bass and I'm gonna do a little bit. How about that? I'll do a little bit. All right. I'm back. Okay, I gotta put this thing in tune. See, I don't even know if I should turn on the amplifier because it seemed like I got a lot of distortion the last time. But you might be able to hear what I'm doing. Let me know. If you can't, then I'll turn it on. Let me see if you can hear this. So I don't know if you could hear that. Let me know. You probably can't hear that. Anyway, I don't know if you could hear that or not. Oh. But what I'll do, I will try to make some adjustments on that so that I can play, give you a little bit of amplified sound, but it really sounded horrible the last time. I think Dr. Earth dry amendments are fine. I think if you look at the ingredients, especially of their of their formulas, you know, I'm not talking about their standalone ingredients, like where it's like alfalfa meal by itself, but you look at their all-purpose fertilizers or their specific fertilizers for like roses or whatever, you'll see that they all have basically all the same ingredients. You're going to see the alfalfa meal, the bone meal, the rock dust, all of those things. So as long as your organic amendments, you know, are organic and the all-purpose ones have those ingredients, you're going to be fine. I'm not sure if one is better than the other, like has Dr. Earth compared to Down to Earth or any other dry organic amendments. I think because they're meant, you know, they're not really processed. I think that is the reason why, you know, it kind of shouldn't matter. Yeah, they'll have the same ingredients, but at a different ratio if it's a veg or a bloom. So generally, they'll have more of the inputs that have the nitrogen and the inputs that are good for vegetative growth. And then in the flower version, there'll be more phosphorus and potassium. But it'll be the same ingredients. They'll just tweak it. So I've never used Dr. Earth, but it is available in my location. But at the grocery store I go to, they only have Down to Earth, but they have the Dr. Earth all over the place. You can go to any like nursery and get it. I think their fishbone meal is good. You know, I stopped using really the higher inputs when it comes to the NPK. Um, I don't use anything I think has a number higher than 6. And like the fishbone meal, I know it's got a really high phosphorus count, and like blood meal has a high nitrogen, like that. I don't really use anything anymore that's standalone like that. And I think that's the reason why if you make the mix that I do, you can plant right into it as long as your plants are a certain age. It doesn't have to cook at all, but and it won't burn the plants. I mean, it'll burn some cuttings. And I've never attempted to grow a seed in my full strength mix, but I think the product itself is good. If you throw it in your soil, it's going to be good. I just think you got to cook those things, I believe, because they're so hot, and it's really not really because the number is so high. It's because of the amount of soluble nutrients in it. Yeah, 318.0. It's like if you look on the box, see what the percentage of soluble ingredients are, nutrients, because that's kind of what will burn your plants. The insoluble ones, that has to be processed by microbes first. That's why like synthetics and stuff can have those lower numbers, because they don't have to be processed. It's all soluble. That's why you can really burn your plants with that stuff. What else are you putting in your soil besides that? Besides the fish bone meal? Mm, that's unusual. Usually, like it doesn't. If the box doesn't give any information on the analysis at all, you can probably go online and you might be able to find that information if you go to Dr. Earth's website. I know with Down to Earth, they have a listing of all of their products, and they have a page that shows the analysis of each product. Matter of fact, what I will do, I will get it. Here, let me look it up real quick. Okay, yeah, see, that's what I mean. It's got 3% water soluble nitrogen. So that's what can burn your plants with an organic amendment. And the soluble stuff, not the insoluble. So that's why you kind of have to let it cook, just because of the soluble part. But if you if all of that is limited, like with a good all-purpose, then you're good to go. So I would think with if these are like all-purpose veg and the all-purpose flour, I bet you can mix a super soil with this and not have to cook the soil and use it. But the plants just got to be about 2 or 3. They got to be. They can't be like fresh clones. They got to be about 10 to 14 days in a lighter mix, and then you can transplant them right into that super soil if you use something like that. But I don't know if you're adding the fish bone meal. I'm not exactly sure if the fish bone meal will burn anything. I know if you put blood meal, like that will definitely. something like blood meal or high nitrogen, back guano, that'll burn plants too. I'm not exactly sure about the high phosphorus, but I'm definitely sure about the high nitrogen back guano. Oh, I'm not telling you not to use it. I'm not telling you not to use it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look it up. Just, oh, never mind. I do my keyboard. Just sit down again. I'm sure that you can use it. The high phosphorus, yeah, in those in that fish bone meal or whatever, um, it can, I guess, knock out calcium and magnesium. But if you're using it in super soil and you're hitting it with compost teas and you're making sure that the soil, that the microbes are what's feeding your plants, then you usually shouldn't have any nutrient deficiencies at all if your mix is right. So I've made super soil. And you can look back in my previous grows before I did this no-till project, where I was using the super soils, and I was putting high phosphorus back guano in those soils, and it performed very well. And I didn't have any nutrients at all. So I'm not telling you not to use it. I think you should use it. I think their products should be just fine if you want to use them in the super soil or top dress with Dr. Earth. Okay, I'm not familiar with what true biotic is. Hey Ken, I don't know. When I'll do another one. I don't want to oversaturate, if you understand what I mean. Um, Besides, I don't know, my wife would be like, "Are you sitting around on a computer all day?" So I'm not worried about her. Probably try to do this again. Maybe Saturday. Oh no, Saturday I got stuff to do. Maybe Sunday. Matter of fact, I'm hoping to harvest on Sunday. I'm hoping to harvest on Sunday. Um, when I checked the trichomes today, I did see a lot more amber today than I did when I made that video, the last update. So it's a day-to-day thing. We're at just at 7.5 weeks. So Saturday will be the completion of 8 weeks. And all the strains are 8 to 9. Well, okay, it's not in front of me, but I believe the Romulan is 8 to 9. The Dozy Dough is 8. And the lemongrass, I believe, is supposed to be 8 to 9. And some of the things I do, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but having insect frass in your soil and using the LEC spectrum is supposed to have an effect that makes your plants ripen sooner. Oh, see, no. I was just talking about that, but I was attributing it, Nick Swagger. I was attributing it to lights and insect frass. there's some information that supports that. That insect frass and the LECs help your plants ripen sooner. But hey, if you're saying that soil is working for you, hey, I know that they do fade and stuff, sooner. Okay, S&M, what are you asking me about? Was what in my super soil? If you're asking about the things that are the bacillus and the glomus and all of those organisms, I can't name exactly what is in my soil when it comes to those microorganisms, but I know there are several types. I inoculated the soil with Roots Organic. No, Roots Organics. It's called. I can't think of the name of it. Roots Organism. It's like organism, but it's organism, and that had a lot of those types of fungi and bacteria and the glomus and stuff. If you want to see the dozy dose, you'll see the dozy dose in my last video. And Mick Swagger, are you producing music right now? Oh, let me ask you something else, mixtapes. You said that you noticed with my soil, your plants ripen faster. How many runs have you used the soil? So S&M, you're asking me what was that in your super soil no-till when you noticed the difference of the health of the soil? Or are you asking when did I notice the difference in the health of the soil? Could you elaborate? I'm a little confused. Well, I appreciate it, man. I wish you were producing some videos. I'd watch yours. I know how it is. I just started making videos because, first of all, you had to kind of like make a channel just to be able to really ask anybody any questions. So I didn't even think about really posting videos at first. And I had my actually was on YouTube maybe about a year or so before I ever posted a video. And the very first video I posted was pretty grainy and stuff. But the reason I started was because I just wanted to share information, because it was really, really tough when I started growing. There was no information. There were some books and stuff like that, but there was no YouTube. There was barely an internet. So I appreciate that you watch all my videos. I really appreciate it. I noticed one thing. Somebody kept giving me thumbs down. I wonder who does that. who gives people thumbs downs, especially with the kind of content I have. Maybe sometime I offend people when I emphasize organics. But if somebody puts a thumbs down, I wish they would comment and tell me why they're giving it a thumbs down. I really would want to know. So it just seemed like it might have been some troll. 5 videos in a row, there was a thumbs down. So I don't know why people get off on that. You can use your energy better. Never understand that. Unless I really said something to offend them, or it was something that they really, really disagreed with, I can understand. But I would want them to explain what they're talking, why, that would be beneficial. Or are you talking about the health difference between the 2 crops outside where one had life and one didn't? Is that what you're talking about, SM? Well, like I said, I like to exchange information. So if somebody has something negative to say, I want to hear it. I can be very, very argumentative. And I'm a person who tries to delve in fact. I try to really leave bias out of anything. I try to really stick with facts and stuff. So I will irritate people sometime with my manner that with the manner that I will debate somebody. People aren't always prepared for that. How prepared I am before I'll really start talking about something. But one way I learn is to to listen. It's really the only way to learn. Of course, you can ask questions, but if your mouth is moving more than your ears are listening, then you are pretty much not absorbing knowledge. So if somebody has something negative to say, I really want to hear it. I might think they have their head up their ass, but I still want to hear it. And I might tell them that they have their head up their ass. But I try not to engage so harshly. I try not to be so intense. So yeah, in 2013, S&M, I guess that's Earth Juice is the name of the product, Earth Juice, and it's an organic liquid product line. Usually, it's very, very nasty looking stuff. Other than their micronutrient, was kind of like a clear liquid. Everything else was pretty. What's the word? Muddy is a good word. Pretty thick. You have to shake it up really well. And I would make up reservoirs of that. I'd fill up like a 30-gallon reservoir with that stuff, and I had a little automated system to water the plants. If you go back and look, that stuff would stink really, really bad, especially if it sat for a couple of days. When I checked that soil at the end of the year, after I harvested the plants, and I was just, I wasn't like I was really doing a soil inspection. I just was pulling out the root balls. And when I pulled out the root balls, I just noticed that, the soil was pretty dormant. There was nothing crawling around it. And I didn't expect that. I figured because it was outdoors that there would be, bugs in the soil. Because while I was growing, there were ants and stuff crawling over it. There were bugs crawling over the soil, but nothing was living in it. And the very next year, 2014, when I used Subcool Super Soil, at the end of the year when I pulled up the root balls, there were worms, there were all kinds of bugs crawling through that soil. And not to mention that the plants grew so much healthier and faster and just looked so much better. The weed tasted better, everything from the transition from liquid organic newts to super soil. But like I said, the soil itself was living, whereas the year before it wasn't. And of course, these were holes we dug in the ground. It wasn't in pots. There were holes we dug in the ground. We filled the holes with Happy Frog the first year, and we used the liquid organic newts. And then the second year, we used Subcool Super Soil. And so that's when I noticed that. Now, and even when I used super soil indoors or made up my own soil mix, before I added the worms, I would always see something crawling around in the soil. Little tiny bugs, springtails, a couple of mites, especially the little brown, like turtle mites. You'd see a lot of those. Didn't see so many predator mites. Matter of fact, I'm not sure if I recall seeing any. One time I saw a pseudo scorpion, and that really got me excited that I saw a pseudo scorpion. But other than that, I didn't see as much as when I added the worms. So I used the same soil for super soil that I did for the no-till. And right away, after I added the worms, like the biology changed, the populations changed. Before the worms were in the soil, there were more like springtails. But after I added the worms, I started to see more mites. In particular, even though I didn't add predator mites, there were predator mites in the soil. And I actually went and bought predator mites, the ones for fungus gnats, but there were already predator mites in the soil. But they started to thrive once the worms were there. Anyway, I'm not even sure if I'm even live anymore. I'm looking at my participants list and it's showing nobody in but me. I've been on for 2.5 hours now, and it's been fun. Thank you all for participating, and we'll do this again really, really soon. So if you're with me, I'm saying goodbye. If you're not, check out the end later when it's posted. You'll see that I'm saying bye and maybe nobody's here. So growers love, peace and love to you all. Okay, you all are still there. I didn't know if you were still there, but I'm going to say bye once again. So peace and love.